गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Yesterday we saw the preparation or the background of what is devotion and the questions of Devahuti. She had asked her son, the Lord, in the right manner, in the right attitude, with surrender, not feeling that she was a mother, and she asked him that, oh Lord, what is the nature of your devotion? And not only that, a person like me who is not educated, who is living at the sensory level, who cannot give up the world that easily, for such a person, how is this devotion possible? Is it possible or not possible? And please tell me this, and please bless me with that knowledge, and about the knowledge as well as the yoga by which we can attain the Lord. And tell me in such a manner, tell me in such a language which a foolish person like me can understand. See, mother is telling her son. Why foolish person? Because I am not as intelligent as you are. Simple. She is accepted. And it happens to us also. We listen to things many times, but it doesn't click, isn't it? After 10 years, suddenly something clicks. Sometimes, many things our teacher told us in the ashram when we were studying, and we understood the essence, but the mechanics sometimes, suddenly when I am speaking, suddenly, that is what Swamiji said that time. Suddenly it clicks. Sometimes parents have said something when we are kids, and that time it doesn't click. One lady, just now, we did Rudram at her house last Monday, and after Rudram we were sitting and talking to each other. She said, Swamiji, today I understand. We are having something I must have said, and suddenly she said, that is what my father used to say. I said, what? He said, Andar masti, bahar something. That Andar anand or bahar masti, something like that. That don't be bahar natak. So when you live in the world, play the drama, and inside be in the mast position. Be happy inside. You see, that time when father used to keep telling us, we never understood. But today I understand. I said, fantastic. So here the mother is asking that you please explain to me in this way, so easily that I, a foolish person, an unintelligent person, an unintellectual person like me can understand. And in this way, here the Lord, before that, he says that there are certain things, that what is this Atma, what is this reality, what is this Lord within our heart? He says it is Nirantaram. The verse goes, yesterday we talked about Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, that dissolving the mind, and after dissolving the mind we must come to the Atma Swarup, the nature, the reality. And what is the nature of this reality? Here it is told that it is of the nature of Nirantaram. Nirantaram means that which is continuous, that which does not stop. Like a river is Nirantar. It's continuously flowing. There is never a stop in it. and the Lord is such that there has never been a time that the Lord is not. Right now also the Lord is, and there will never be a time that the Lord will not be, will not be. Then second, Swayam Jyotihi. Swayam Jyoti means the Lord in our heart is self-illuminating. Self-illuminating means I need a light, I need the sunlight to illuminate the world for me, isn't it? Otherwise I cannot see the world. In the night how can I see? Either I need the sun, or I need the moon, or I need a lamp, and depending upon the power of the light, you can see the world, isn't it? Another way of looking at it is, I can see you because my eyes are illuminating you, right? But can these eyes illuminate the Lord in our heart? Can the mind illuminate the Lord in the heart? Cannot. Why? Because the Lord is self-existing. The Lord can be seen by the light of the Lord alone. That is the only way. It cannot be no other artificial light. No mind, no senses, no sun, no artificial light can ever, no thought can illuminate the Lord, because Lord is self-illuminating. Then animanam akhanditam. Animan means he is the smaller than the smallest, he is the subtler than the subtlest, he is so fine. He is so fine, and where is that fine being so fine? He is within us and without us. He is so fine that we are not able to see it. Are you able to see the space? You know there is something called space. You use that language, but have you ever seen the space? You know that, oh, I am thinking in my mind. Have you ever seen the mind? Have you seen the mind, any one of you? Physically or with your eyes? You cannot. Finer than the mind is this reality, is this Lord within us, is this Atma within us. Animanam and akhanditam. Nothing can destroy it, nothing can break it. It is continuous. The word which came before, nirantaram. And everyone has this experience that I am. Have you ever felt that I am not? You can say, I am not a son, I am not a manager, I am not a house owner, or I am not having one arm if it is breaking, it is cut. But nobody has the feeling, I am not, isn't it? And you don't have to say that I am all the time. Everyone has the feeling that they are. And it is, that feeling is without a thought in their mind, isn't it? That is the akhandakar vritti. And in this way, this becomes another meditation wherein a person can contemplate. Ammachi propagates this meditation. She says her meditation is I am meditation. I am. And that is the source. If you are not, how can you be the body? How can you be the mind? How can you be the senses? How can you experience the world? All of it begins with the I am feeling. Then to get to this I am feeling, to get to this Atman, to get to this Lord, what is the quality that is required? Here the verse goes, Jnana Vairagya Yuktena Bhakti Yuktena Chatmana Paripashyat Udasinam Prakritim Cha Hataujasam. So, few qualities are given. These are all the preparation of a student. First is Jnana, second is Vairagya, third is Bhakti, fourth is Paripashyati Udasinam. Udasinam means a detached attitude towards the world, and Prakritim towards Prakriti. Prakriti is the world, and so first let's see what Gyan means. Gyan means having a clear understanding of what is Purusha and what is Prakriti, what is consciousness and what is matter. I can tell you a big thing. He asked me in the morning, Swamiji, how do you know what is consciousness and what is matter? What was the answer?
Beyond matter
How did I explain it? See, forgotten already. Because we ask, because Swamiji is there, so we ask. Because this fellow will keep telling something all the time. But we don't, it is our, the question is intellectual, but not coming from here.
this matter.
What is the difference when you ask me the question, how did I answer it? Very simply I told you.
Matter changes.
Good. See, she is listening from yesterday. Matter continuously changes. Consciousness never changes. Matter has a beginning and an end. Remember now? Matter has a beginning and matter has an end. Matter has birth, matter has death. Matter it can never be permanent. Matter is finite, but consciousness is infinite. It has got no beginning, it has got no end. It is the essence of ours. So now find out what is changing. Your body is changing, it is matter. Oh, so I am not the body. No, let's go further. Is the breath changing? Yes, so breath is also matter. Are the emotions changing? Yes, the emotions are also matter. Are the concepts and thoughts changing? Yes, the concepts and thoughts are also matter. Is the waker idea in your mind coming and going? Yes. Dreamer coming and going? Yes. Deep sleeper coming and going? Yes. Everything is matter. Everything is Prakriti. Do you know that all these come and go? Yes, I know it. I know it right now. Who is this fellow who knows? He is the continuous one. Find out now. This is the I am inquiry. This is the question. This is the point. Now, you know that you are not the body, this is matter. No, I cannot talk about Baba. I cannot focus on the body. I cannot focus on the breath. I cannot focus on the mind. I cannot focus on the thoughts. Because I know the thoughts are coming and going even right now when I am speaking to you. Then who is this fellow? What is that power? What is that that presence which is knowing that these thoughts are coming and going even while I am speaking, even while I am thinking? That is the... So you have to keep coming back. See, our Nisargadatta Maharaj was there in India, in Maharashtra, and he was told, he used to run a pan bidi shop. You understand pan bidi shop? Cigarettes, one and katha chuna laga ke pan khilate the. And his friend used to call him every day. He used to go to an ashram, come on yaar, come on yaar, come on yaar. Never he went. And one day, when his son was in year 11, his friend was going. He said, hey, wait, I am coming with you. He says, how come? He says, no, I want to come. And he went with him. Listen. And the teacher said, Swamiji who was there in that ashram, he said, you are that reality. After the 1.5 lecture, he asked, what do you mean by I am that reality? He said, this is focus on your I am sense without... If the mind keeps going out into the world, into sleep, into dream, into the world, into the relatives, into desires, just pull it back to this sense of I am. Just pull it back into this sense that I am. Again and again. He says, that's all. Yes, everything will happen. Came back, handed over the shop to his son, locked himself in one room. They had only one room. Mother and son had to sleep in the kitchen. 2 years. After 2 years, a realized master came out. No education is required for realization. What we study in schools and scriptures, the essence of the whole thing is come back to this I sense again and again. For that, you have to give up attachment to the world. You have to become attached to the Lord in your heart, or the I am sense. You have to seek it. If that is too difficult, okay, seek the mind. Find out where the mind is. Find out where the mind is. If you even search for your mind, you will go into samadhi. Find out. Is it in the knee? Is it in the bum? Is it in the shoulder? Is it in the nose? Is it in the brain? Is it in the head? Is it in the throat? Find out where the mind is. What is its location? You will go into meditation. So in this way, Jnana, Vairagya. Vairagya is a renunciation. Yuktena. So these are the two wings of spirituality. One is keep gaining the knowledge through satsang, and second is for the bird to fly, both wings are required. One is the knowledge, keep reading books, study, try to understand, come to the satsangs, meet the Mahatmas, and the second is by doing all this, Vairagya must get cultivated in your heart. You must not feel that without the world, without the family, without the husband, without the wife, without the car, without the house, without my socializing, I cannot exist. We must slowly withdraw from the world. The more you withdraw, the more whatever you are reading will gel into your heart. So, Jnana Vairagya Yuktena, Bhakti Yuktena. When you have so what are we doing right now? We are gaining knowledge in your mind. Sometimes you must have seen, if you have gone to funerals, what happens to you when you go to funeral? You also feel vairagi, isn't it? You also feel this life is nothing. One day I am also going to be lying there like that. But it is kshanika vairagya. Kshanika means it is temporary, it is momentary. That renunciation that you feel, that detachment to the world that you feel is temporary. When we go to hospitals, we see dying people and we see how much the mind is troubling them. And you say, is there any solution? And you come to a satsang, we tell you, yes, there is a solution. Prepare right now, get your mind under your control. And to get the mind under your control, you have to remember the Lord. Otherwise, you will also suffer like that at the time of death. Even though there is nothing called death, because this is all a bhram of the mind only. You say, nice. You go to the hospital, you remember, and you come to the satsang. You go to someone's funeral, you remember, and suddenly you become very, very wise person. All this is nothing. I don't have interest in the world at all. But next day, someone calls, hey, we are going to this pub. Are you coming? We are having a party. Are you coming? Oh, what time? And we forget that just yesterday we were feeling so sincerely that I must take the name of the Lord, I must prepare and become capable of keeping the mind under my control or making the mind surrender to the Lord. But at the drop of a hat, we allow the distractions of the world to make our mind leak back into the world. And then again, as our Swamiji says, wahi katha, wahi chuna. Okay. See? Nothing. Pan, pan which you had and you had a problem. Same thing. So we are not sincere. We are not convinced ourselves. And that conviction only will come when we continuously remain in satsang and remain and interact with the world in a detached manner. The knowledge will give detachment, and the more you remain detached, the more understanding of the knowledge will click inside. When such an environment is created inside your heart and mind, such a mind which is renounced the world or is not too much attracted by the world, a vairagi mind, such a mind must be applied, bhakti yuktena, must be applied on the Lord. See, every night when you go to sleep, you drop the world, isn't it? You are thinking of the sleep and the world is dropping itself, it's not making an impact on your mind. So you know how to do it. Now it has to be done consciously for the Lord. Then paripashyati udasinam. Paripashyati means, like right now you are sitting in this room, all of your attention is on me and what I am speaking, right? Even if you are not, sometimes some words that I speak, your ears are hearing and they are triggering some thought in your mind. Your eyes are looking at me but not looking at me. Isn't it? You are hearing the sound of the AC when I remind you, but after some time you will forget it. You know it is there, but you will not put attention on it. Similarly, you know the color of the walls, you know the tube light, 2 rows of tube light, you know the smoke alarm, you know the color of the chairs, you know the carpet. So many things are there in the room. You are seeing yet not seeing them. Why? Where is your attention? On me. That is why. You know all these things are there, but they are not creating a disturbance in your mind. Isn't it? This is called paripashyati, udasinam. So move around in the world in this manner. Move around in the world looking at everything and yet not getting involved in anything. Udasinam, in an indifferent attitude towards the world. What will people say? Who cares? They are only coming to your funeral. That's all. They'll only come to the funeral. If you have troubles, they will all leave you just like this. Nobody is going to come to give you a hand. You have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself. You have to surrender your mind at the feet of the Lord. Just like this Mother Devahuti. So what does it mean that paripashyati udasinam? Paripashyati udasinam, another example I'll give you. It's like electricity gives shock. If I put my finger, in Australia you can't put your finger in India you can. If you put your finger into the electric point, you will get a shock. Isn't it? When we were kids, the radio used to be there. And by mistake, instead of holding the knob, our fingers used to go behind the knob. And we used to have a shock. Parents keep telling, don't put your finger in, don't touch the live wire, don't touch the fire, you will burn, you will get a shock. But as a child you are curious. And once you get burned, and once you get a shock, then what happens? Do you stop using electricity for the rest of your life? Do you stop using fire for the rest of your life and remain afraid of the fire? No. Then what you do is, you follow the rules so that fire does not burn you, and now fire has become your slave. You can use it for cooking, you can use it for so many different purposes. You follow the rules of that you don't get damaged by electricity, then electricity has become your slave. You can use it for fridge, you can use it for lighting, you can use it for hot plate, so many different uses are there. Exactly the same way. What is the rule for the world? If you go too close to anything in the world, it will burn you. If you go too close to the fire, it will burn you. If you go too far away from the fire, you will not get the heat. You have to maintain a proper distance with everyone and everything in this world. Overindulgence always brings about a problem. So if we understand these two examples, fire and electricity, just exactly like that. Look at everything in this world. Let it be your relations, let it be your husband, let it be your wife, let it be your children, let it be your car, let it be your house, let it be your mother-in-law, father-in-law, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, whatever. All the things and relations, they must be interacted as if they are electricity or fire. Maintain a safe distance. When we get over involved with someone or something, some project, then it is very difficult to get out of that, isn't it? We must maintain that much distance that at a drop of a hat we can drop it and run away from there. But we don't maintain that distance. Sometimes we get involved in other people's lives and then we say, "Arey yaar, why did I get into that? I just asked one question, how are you, and I can't get out of the situation." Now that person is downloading everything on me. Now, what do I don't want that information. Did you maintain the distance? No. So, udasin, being indifferent doesn't mean hurting other people. Being indifferent, paripashyati udasinam means maintaining a safe distance so that you don't get burned. You do the seva, but that seva does not burn you. You help other people, but helping other people does not become a problem to you. See, and this is the rule. With fire, this is the rule. With electricity, this is the rule. With the world also, this is the rule. But no but. If you have a but, then be ready to get burnt. Be ready to get stressed. Be ready to get depressed. Because that's what overindulgence in the world will bring about. You have to maintain a healthy distance from the world. When you maintain that healthy distance, then mind does not become, because where is the world? In your mind. Then this mind doesn't become a problem to you. But the first step is out there in the world. So in this manner, such a person who is remaining indifferent to the world, even while living in the world, only such a person can come to know the Lord in his heart. Because if you overindulge in the world, then you are giving less importance to the Lord. Why you are giving less importance? Because your mind is cluttered by the thoughts of the world. Udasina means, just like here, so many things are there in the room, but they are not impacting your mind right now. Even though they are present. Move through the world that the world is not able to impact your mind while you are moving through the world. Then where should your attention be? Attention should be on the Lord in your heart. Ram, Ram, Ram. Or I am. In Hindi, मैं हूँ. कबड्डी खेलो. हु तू करते ना. मैं हूँ. Who am I? What is this? Who is this person who is inside? And the more you remain detached to the world, this will automatically begin inside. The love has to go somewhere. The love was there before for the world. Now where will that love go? It will automatically get transferred towards something higher, something subtler, towards the Ishvara in our heart. In this way, न युज्यमानया भक्त्या भगवती अखिलात्मनि सदृशोस्ति शिवः पंथा योगिनो ब्रह्म सिद्धये. For Kapil Muniji is saying that to attain a bhakti, the means these are the means, these are the qualities that we need to inculcate within our nature. And he says in this verse, in this particular verse, like I told you yesterday, that you do not have to give up anything. Right now you have a disposition that you get attached to everything in the world. Don't give up attachment. Only change the topic of attachment. Before you are attached to the world, now you become attached to the Lord. That's all. And for such a person, Brahma Siddhaye, the Lord reveals himself to such a person. And having told all this, even more qualities Kapil Muniji tells his mother, and he says that that a person, when he gives up the attachment to the world, and is practicing paripashyati udasinam, such a person becomes sadhu purush. Sadhu purush means he does not want anything from anyone. He does not want any bad for anyone. He forgives and forgets. And what are the other qualities of such a sadhu person? तितिक्षवः कारुणिकाः सुहृदः सर्वदेहिनाम् अजातशत्रवः शान्ताः साधवः साधुभूषणाः मयि अन्येन भावेन भक्तिं कुर्वन्ति ये दृढां मत्कृते त्यक्तकर्माणः त्यक्तस्वजन बान्धवाः. So here the different qualities. Titikshavaha. Titikshavaha means forbearance. Titiksha means forbearance and ability to endure. Mother endures sleepless nights because of a newborn child, isn't it? Does she complain? Any mother? She may complain, but acha, 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 you leave the child, I'll take care of it, you go to sleep. She will sleep, but first she will get up again because she loves her child and she is ready to go through that tapasya, through that she is ready to forbear, she is ready to endure the hardships for the sake of her child, isn't it? No, 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 I will take care of the child only when I have, my husband also does something. Did you feed the milk? You didn't? Then I am not going to feed the water. Mother cannot say that way, isn't it? Cannot do that way. So titiksha, what happens when a person learns to endure? Then dhairya comes into his life. Dhairya is the ability to forbear. When you endure, the ability to forbear comes. That, what does forbearance means? That whatever difficulties the life throws at you, you do not get disturbed. For us, at a drop of a hat, if I put the heater off just in a few minutes, look at your faces. Oh, it's so warm, so you will just go through just because I put it off. If I increase it, why Swamiji increased it? We have to take the jacket off then, isn't it? Can't remain undisturbed. Because focus is on unwanted things, not on the real thing. What is the real? The satsang, the Lord. Then karunikaha, these sadhu purushas who have the gyan, vairagya, titiksha, etc., such when they look at other people's misery, immediately compassion pours out of their heart. They cannot stay without trying to find a solution for the people's problem. Their natural, it is in their nature. And therefore, wherever they go, they only spread love and nothing else. Then suhruda sarvadehinam, such sadhu purushas, they are friends of everyone. Friends means, this is also another quality. Never become friend of anyone. Be friendly to everyone. What do we say sometimes? No, I got only few friends and they are really good friends. Nobody is a real good friend. In the end, they will also give up. You have to go alone when you go. Then what? Because what is our goal while living? To collect friends or to realize the Lord? Think. You should not make other, hey, I just yesterday came to the satsang, Swamiji said, don't be friend of everyone, just be friendly. So therefore, I am just friendly to you, I will not. Don't say like that to everyone. This is your personal journey. Other people should not come to know that you are, anything has changed in you. See? So what happens when you are friendly? You are always one arm distance. Never get involved too much into anyone's life. So, but who are sadhu purushas? Everyone feels that they are our friend. Everyone feels a Mahatma is our friend because the Mahatma or the sadhu purushas, they can be not necessarily wearing these clothes, they can be in a family also. Their heart is very clean. They do not judge people, they accept you as you are. A child doesn't say, Mummy, I don't think you are my mummy. Why? You don't look like Hema Malini. Do you say that? Do you say that? Do you want your mother to be like someone else? Never. That is why we love our mother. And that mother who keeps comparing you, "Oh, look at that other fellow on the other, that in the next house, he came, see how much he's studying, you are not studying. See how much he's good at sports, you are not playing sports. See how good handwriting he has, you don't have good." And you say, I never compare my mother to any other mother. Why mummy is comparing me to others? See? Then mothers or fathers say, it's only to bring out the best out of you. Then he can also say, I want to bring Hema Malini out of you. Start dancing. It doesn't go that way, isn't it? Similarly, the sadhu purushas also, they do not want you, they do not want you, they accept you as you are. Therefore, you love them. Everyone wants you to change. Everyone wants you to behave in a different way. But sadhu purushas, they accept you as you are. And therefore, it is told that if you want to have friends in life, make Mahatma as your friends. Because if you are with a sadhu purush, good people in life, sadhu purush means good people, who are continuously thinking of the higher. They are not, when you go to them, they are always happy. When you go to them, the sadhu purushas never complain about their problems. When you go to them, they only ask about how is your life going. When you go to sadhu purushas, eventually the topic always comes to the Lord or the stories of the Lord, not about the world. And that's why we keep wanting to go to them. We all like happy people, isn't it? We don't like sad people. We automatically get attracted towards happy people. Why? This is the reason. They are the sadhu purushas. But those people who are happy by taking the mickey out of someone in the world, by abusive language, they think it is fun. After some time we get tired of that. But we never get tired of good people. Look at some elderly ladies, those who have been doing japa sadhana or puja. You go into their presence, you feel nice. One Amma is there in Melbourne. I don't know if she's still living or not. When I saw her last about 3-4 years ago, she was 91. But whole day, she's a Gujarati lady, whole day, she gets up early in the morning at 4 o'clock, takes shower, does puja of her Balakrishna, then after that she will read the Bhagavad Mahapuran, after that she will listen to some bhajans, at the right time she will come and have something to eat. Sometimes she forgets because she is in meditation. Then in the afternoon, after that she will rest for 1 hour because she is elderly. Then again she gets up, washes her face, again sits down, continues reading the Bhagavad Mahapuran every day for so many years. You go in, when I go to her house, I can't sit next to her. I have to sit at her feet. And she just takes my head and puts it into her lap and keeps playing with my hair. 91 years old. I'm talking about now 87. When she was 87. Then when I have to eat, I will give her and she will feed me with her hand or with a spoon. But I just feel, just looking at her, tears start flowing out of my eyes. Because she's so pure. Nothing to do with kids, nothing to do with her children. Just in her room, continuously there is a beautiful fragrance coming from the room. There's always a spark in her eyes, even at this age, a beautiful smile. If anyone comes, she is not concerned who has come, who has not come. I go. The moment she sees me, aja beta, aja. See how you love when someone loves you like that. See? So always make company with good people where your thinking becomes better. What is making your thinking better? That you stop thinking of the world and you start thinking of something higher. Such are good people. So if you want to make friends with such Mahatmas or such Sadhu Purushas or such Sajjan Purushas, the good people, by whose company your character becomes better, your mind becomes single pointed. Bhagavad Bhakti is inculcated in your heart. But if you go to someone who is playing cricket or is interested, he will only talk cricket, he'll talk shop. IT people talk shop, doctors talk shop, mechanic talk shop, plumber talk shop. They have their own friends. Which topic do you want to talk on? Choose wisely your friends. This is what is my Suhrada Sarvadehi Nam. Ajata Shatravaha. For such people there are no enemies. Sadhu Purushas have got no enemies. What does that mean? That everyone loves them. It is not possible. In this world, everyone loving one person, it is not possible. There will be enemies. But in their heart, they do not accept anyone as enemy. They are not disturbed by the animalistic behavior of even the enemies. So if their heart is clear, they have got no hatred towards anyone. These are the qualities that you need to develop in order to become a devotee of the Lord. And Shantaha. Shanta, peace. And what is this quality of the peace? It is that peace, as we told you yesterday, which is beyond the peace and no peace. No, it is prashanti. It is not shanti or ashanti. Shanti is opposite of ashanti. But this is prashanti. And what is prashanti? Conscious silence. This topic also came this morning when, I don't know, you knew this topic or what? Asking the same questions. So he says, what is peace? We should maintain peace. Yes, you must be exposed to silence. But what silence? It must be conscious silence, isn't it? Because silence is there in sleep also. Ignorance. There is silence after you take drugs also. Silence. Mind quietens down. Mind becomes silent when you die also. We want mind can become silent in an inert way. You think of silence and your mind will become silent. But it will lead to depression after some time. So that silence also we don't want. We want to expose our mind to conscious silence. Conscious silence means not inert, conscious, meaning we are not thinking about silence, but we are aware that the mind has become silent. That quality, that disposition, that poise has to be had. And in this way, Shanta, then the last one is Sadhavaha Sadhu Bhushanaha. Who are these Sadhavaha Sadhu Bhushanaha? These are these people who think about the benefit of everyone. It is not about what is in it for me. Majority of the people in society, they are only moving around, what is in it for me. What do you mean by that? I go to somewhere in a gathering and I meet someone. Hey, what do you do? Oh, I am a plumber. Hey, nice meeting you, man. Why? You know, you will have enough problems at home sometime or the other. I found a plumber now. Then next party, electrician. Very good. Hey, let's go out for a beer sometime or a coffee sometime. You want to make friends. Why? Because he will do it cheaply for me. Then IT fellow. You make a friend of him. Then a doctor fellow. So you have collected all the friends around you whom you can use. Think about it. How many friends you have in your life whom you are using? Or did you become friends with them just because they are a good person? Or you really wanted to be friends with them? Or did you become friends with them thinking, what is in it for me? How can this person benefit me? How can this situation benefit me? How will it benefit me to go somewhere, to a party, to a gathering? It is always about our benefit. But who are sadhu purushas? They do not see what is their benefit in any situation. They always want other people to benefit. This is the quality of a sadhu purush. That's why we get attracted to them. That's why we feel at peace with them. And such people, they never have, then what you call, भेदभाव को हिंदी में इंग्लिश में क्या बोलेंगे? Discrimination. They do not discriminate. Oh, this fellow is a poor fellow and this fellow is a rich fellow. I will give more attention to the rich fellow. I will give. No, because they have got nothing to achieve. It's a matter of love for them. So from their vision towards everything, whether it is a small insect or it is an emperor, their attention is exactly the same. The value towards the world is always the same. You know, when Alexander the Great came to Indus River, when he was there, someone said, "Oh, I have heard so many great people are there. Can you meet?" So one of his deputies went and found one Mahatma, and that Mahatma was just sitting in the roadside and basking in the morning sun, getting vitamin D. And Alexander the Great on the horse with so many people comes there, and he says, "They say you are a great person." He's just enjoying the sun. He says, "Don't you know that I am the emperor of the world?" No answer. He says, "Don't you feel that you should get up in front of the emperor?" He says, "Please move on the side, you are blocking the sun." That's all. They don't care. They don't care. And in this manner, these are the various qualities. So now, answering the questions of Devahuti, our Kapil Muniji, the first question was, what is the nature of bhakti and what is the nature of bhakti, and a person like me, how can she do the bhakti of you? Because she recognizes that her son is the Lord. So she says, how can I bring myself to become devoted to you? Because mother-son relationship is always a different one. So how is it possible? And please tell me all this so that I can absolve myself in this life before this body leaves. So, giving upadesh to Devahuti, the Lord says, the first step is, he says, Devanam gunalinganam anushra vikakarmanam sattva evaika manasaha vritti swabhaviki tuva. So, understand first thing is that satsang, guru, good people, vairagya, detachment, and if Lord also comes into your life, how does Lord come? Sometimes he comes as you dream of him, or for no reason the mouth starts chanting the name of the Lord. Sometimes it happens, isn't it? Understand, it is His grace. But what do we say many times? यार हमने पिछले जन्म में बहुत पुण्य किए होंगे इसलिए भगवान हमारे को सत्संग मिल रहा है. We must have done many merits in our last life, and that is why Mahatmas have come into our life. That is why satsang has come into our life. That is why good people have come into our life. That is why a good husband or a good wife has come into our life. That is why our children are growing well. Wrong conclusion. Wrong conclusion. When you think like this, your attention is on your ego. Good things happen in your life, in fact, even bad things happen in your life, only by the grace of the Lord. So, satsang, guru, good people, vairagya, detachment, ability to understand the scriptures, Bhagavad Bhakti, all this happens by the grace of the Lord. It does not happen because of our merit. Because of merit, only two things happen. You get joys and sorrows in life. That's all. And the joys and sorrows, do you have any control on the joys and sorrows? Do you have any control what is going to happen when you leave from here?
No.
Majority of us will reach. Maybe it can happen that none of us reaches to Janmashtami. I remember many 15 years ago, I was preparing for Janmashtami, it's similar day, and a grand celebration. So many people have come, hundreds, and I'm preparing, and suddenly a call comes. I'm in the middle of a puja, call comes, and I'm not ready to pick up. I didn't have a mobile. It rang. Someone was called, and they said, Swamiji, what was the call? My father had a heart attack, and he had to be taken to the hospital. Nobody there. Then what do I do? See, did I plan? So at that moment, such a devastating news has come to me. What do? I start, oh, my life is gone. Do I cry? Or do I laugh? Oh, my dad is passing away. No. You have to take the correct response. See? So, joys and sorrows come because of certain circumstances that appear in your life. Those, as I told you yesterday, Jati Ayu Bhog, the species that you will be born in, the number of breaths that you will breathe in life, and what experiences you will get in life. They are already predetermined. So what are the experiences that are going to come in your life? They become the cause of your joys and sorrows, isn't it? Right now you might be enjoying the satsang. But if I continue it for 2 hours, the same joy will turn into misery, isn't it? We are eating dosas in the morning. 1, 2, maja aa gaya. Third, fourth, it was greed. Eyes are saying, have one more. Stomach is saying, enough. Then afterwards, same thing. When you began, you were enjoying the dosa. Towards the end, don't. And after that, someone says, Swamiji, what will you have for the lunch? Don't talk about food. Because it's coming out, still the dosa is here. Don't talk about food. Talk about food after 2 hours, once it's gone down. Isn't it? It is like this. So joys and sorrows are because of our merits and demerits. See? The experiences that come into our life. But again, there also there is one choice. There also there is one choice. The choice is with us, that do we become miserable or we remain joyful, happy in spite of what the world is throwing at us. That choice we have been given. We go from here to the Janmashtami, and suppose we go there all happy, and suppose we don't get a seat. Possibility, isn't it? If you start thinking about it right now, you will be worried unnecessarily. Then you will start thinking, should we take chair from here? Huh? But if you get there and you get a chair, then your thoughts, you don't get a chair and your thoughts are going, see, young people sitting on the chair and we are elderly people, they don't even feel that they should get up. Is this our culture? Is this Hindu culture? Is this what they have taught? Suddenly we become spiritual. This, and we call this spirituality. Right or wrong? Now, if that situation has come about that nobody gives you the chair, choice is with whom? With us. Do we get disturbed or do we not get disturbed? Do we become miserable or not remain miserable? That choice is with us. Then the world cannot impact on our mind if we exercise that choice, because we have got no control over what the world is going to give us. But once it has given, neither become too excited nor become miserable. Remain neutral. Always keep the car in neutral of your mind. That is the best way. So here, the Lord's son, or the son, Kapil Muniji, is telling his mother that the devotion, the love for the Lord is even greater than realization, because just like the digestive fire burns the food, now same way this devotion, this taking the name of the Lord, this remembrance of the Lord in our heart and mind eats away all the karmas, good and bad. See how beautiful? Eats away the karmas. What is stopping you right now from being of the nature of divine? What is stopping you? Your mind, your karma, your doership, your enjoyership, meaning ahankar, the ego. Where is the ahankar? It is in the mind, isn't it? That idea that I am, that I have to do something, I have to achieve, I have to realize, I have to be a good person, I have to become renunciate, I have to be a Swami, I have to not be a Swami, whatever. It is I. If I say do bhakti, I have to do bhakti. There also I have to do bhakti. So this doing brings about karma, and then the more, depending upon the intensity with which you do actions in life, they precipitate the subconscious impressions on your mind. But when our attention is on the Lord's name and we are intensely, joyfully, lovingly, devotedly taking the name of the Lord, to that extent, all the karma sanskars, meaning all the desires which are lurking within our subconscious mind, slowly by slowly, by the grace of the Lord, they get neutralized. And this is what he tells his mother. And he says, Animitta Bhagavati Bhakti Siddher Gariyasi Jaratyashu Yakosham Nikirnamanalo Yatha. And in this way, the devotion destroys all the karma samskaras and which are lying, latent means unmanifested within our linga sharira. Linga sharira means the subtle body. Subtle body means the mind. So in this way, so what are the system? What is the sequence? Always the first step should be that you do the karma for the Lord. Do not become the doer. But if you feel that you are the doer, that कर्तृत्व अभिमान भी, हम बोलते हैं मैं करने वाला हूँ, I am the doer, मैं करता हूँ, मैं नहीं करूँगा तो कौन करेगा. So if that feeling is there that I am doing everything in world, offer that doing to the Lord. And if you keep offering every action, at the level of speech, at the level of thoughts, at the level of body, keep offering it to the Lord. Lord, okay, I forgot. I offer it to you, whatever the result. You are only inspiring me to say this, you are only inspiring me to think this, you are only inspiring this body to do these particular actions. Good or bad, doesn't matter. Keep offering it to the Lord, keep offering it to the Lord. A point will come where your attention becomes on the Lord and not on the action after some time. It will not happen straight away. When that happens, when it is on the Lord, automatically the next stage comes, and the next stage is the remembrance of the Lord in your heart and mind. Automatically, continuously it will be going on. And when that starts happening, the continuous remembrance of the name of the Lord in your heart and mind, it will burn away, destroy away, neutralize all the karma sanskar which are latent within your subconscious mind. And that leads to the third stage. And what is that? The third stage is that which I told you yesterday, as the mind becomes free of all impressions, how do impressions appear in the mind? By way of thoughts, isn't it? Now the waves of thoughts, they are subsiding because there is nothing, no desire trying to express itself because they have been neutralized. The waters of the mind, they become calm. When it becomes calm, what happens there? Just like in a calm waters, the moon is able to reflect completely. In the waters of the mind, the consciousness is able to reflect completely. That is Atma Sakshatkar. That itself is the Lord. See? So this is the application of the technology now. No, but you start taking the name of the Lord. Start offering every karma to the Lord. Then see, it will happen. But we want to take 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening, nothing is going to happen too much. It must be just like you are so interested in the world, you must become interested in the Lord. Like you are attached to the world, you must get attached to the Lord. And if you can't, then at least put in front of your glasses that everything that I think, everything that I speak, everything that I do, it is because of the Lord alone. And so everywhere you are going, you are seeing that. Eventually your attention will be on the Lord. And when that happens, automatically inner transformation comes about. And in this way, when the second stage, when your attention comes to the Lord, automatically such a person, when his attention is continuously on the Lord because he is offering everything to the Lord, such a person enjoys listening to the stories of the Lord. He enjoys not only telling but also listening. When he starts listening to the stories, remember last time when I came, Navavida Bhakti, Chintanam, Leela Smaran, and after that what happens? He's automatically, as his love for the Lord increases, automatically the Nam Smarana begins. The remembrance of the Lord automatically starts in his heart, and he cannot stop. Continuously from his mouth, the mantra is going on. See, those few of you who go to singing classes, when you learn something, you 1 hour, 1.5 or 2 hours, you are singing. Only one line of one bhajan, for example, when you come back, what is going on in your mind? Same mantra. Even if it is not a mantra, if it's just a dhun, वही चलता रहेगा, because you have just learned it and you have interacted with it so intensely for 1 hour. See? Did you do any effort there? Did you put any effort? Did you remember I must chant this? It's automatically coming. Same way the Lord's name also comes. Then for such people in whom the Lord's name has been invoked as a result of the purification of the mind, then such people, when they go to temples, they don't see a statue. They see the Lord standing there. They don't see a mountain. They see the vibhuti of the Lord. See, what did we discuss today? I said from his house you can see the Mount Wellington. I said, look, Mount Wellington. It's as if it's the Sahasrar. Sahasrar means this part of your head. And from there the snow is melting, it's coming down. I said, see the rivers of bliss coming down. Vision changes. And it was a spontaneous, it was not a thought out. Just I said, I am coming here and sitting down for some time. And I just kept looking at it. So for such people, then not only statues, then when they come across human beings, for them they are walking temples of God. Such people are called sadhu purushas. Think about it. And in this way, see, there was one Namdev Baba in Maharashtra. His father was a pujari, and they had a small temple in their courtyard, and every day he used to do the puja for so many years. And he used to give the prasad, and he used to trick his son that see, Bhagavan drank the prasad, and now you give it to everyone else. And that small child, Namdev Maharaj, he thought that certainly daddy must be giving it to, the Lord must be coming and drinking it. Vithoba Rukumai, the two husband and wife, Vishnu and Lakshmi is there. So one day he had to go out, the child was a little bit grown up, maybe 6-7 years old, and the father said, today I have to go out, son, can you offer the prasad to the Lord? I have done the puja. So son said, okay, and he offered the prasad. After some time, the prasad is still there, nobody has taken it. Dad used to put it into another pot to show to the son that the prasad has been taken by the Lord. But son doesn't know. He says, Lord, you are not taking the prasad, my father will come and beat me up. Please take, please take. He cries in front of that statue, because for him, the statue from childhood, because dad says that the statue drinks the milk, for the son, it is a living thing. It is not just a statue. So he cries and cries. And Lord appears along with the Lakshmi. And she takes the prasad, Lord also takes the prasad, then they feed the prasad to the son, to the boy, Namdev Maharaj. And then the father comes, he says, where is the prasad? No, Lord ate it. So, he says, for last 18 years I have done puja of the Lord and he has never come and eaten, and you are taking me for a ride. Who is your father? That Lord came. How can a Lord come out of a statue? He says, no daddy, they came. And the father takes the stick and is about to hit the son. That very moment, the Lord and Vishnu and Narayan Bhagavan and Lakshmi, they appeared there. Vithoba Rukumai. Remember we went to Pandurang, Maharashtra we went. So they appear. And they realize their mistake. That the son had simple mind, no corruption. No corruption. Living in our daily life, we have corrupted our disc. We have filled up our disc by impressions, by karma samskar. Only by taking the name of the Lord, that disc will become cleaned, so that it can be used again. If you just delete it, the disc does not become empty. It needs to be reformatted, isn't it? That reformatting only the Lord can do. And when He reformats it, then He functions through that disc. Because you are not there. You have surrendered to the Lord. See? So this is the vision. Another example I'll give you of the great devotee. His name was Gora Kumbar. He was a potter. And after many years of tapasya and remembrance of the Lord, he had a child. And he is a Vittal, 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 Vittal. And he used to make the pots and used to make the cups and used to sell. If someone takes it free, doesn't care, he'll keep doing it. One day his wife says, my dear, I am going out to buy vegetables. Our son is just playing there on the charpai. And please take care. He said, you go, Vitthova is there, he will take care. And he is doing, and suddenly his mud finished, and he remembered that there is a pit there, and he has to knead the mud so that it becomes soft to make the pots. And he starts kneading, and while kneading and jumping, he's dancing. How do you do it to not get bored? He chanted Vitthal, 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 and he is jumping on the mud. And he is so intoxicated in the Lord that he doesn't see his own child slowly getting out of the charpai, falling down, then crawling and coming to his father, and then he comes into the mud and he gets trampled under the feet of his father and dies. He has got no idea that the son has come under his feet because he's got body disidentified, he's intoxicated with the Lord. Vithala, Vithala, Vithala. And the crowd has collected and they are seeing and they're calling him out, but he's not listening, he's intoxicated. Then the wife comes and she catches him and he get out. What happened? What happened? She says, oh my God, all blood everywhere in that mud because the child has been crushed under his own feet. This type of intoxication. Did the child remain dead? No, the Lord brought him back. The Lord brought him back. This type of disposition comes about in a person on whose lips the Lord comes of his own accord, by his own grace. And in this way, we sometimes become afraid when we start taking the name of the Lord, when we come to satsangs, Swamiji is going to tell this, the scriptures, Gita is telling this, I think it is a little bit difficult. What if I also start doing this? I'll stop loving my husband, I'll stop loving my wife, I'll stop loving my children. Oh, how will I live? I don't want, Bapre, this is a bit too difficult. Do I really want God? No, I think it's better little bit God and more into the world and family, you know. We think in this way. We become afraid of the consequences. We are all afraid of the unknown. But what happens? Once we, see, today I washed my clothes in the washing machine. If the clothes could think, what would be the thinking? I think Ashok and Swamiji, they are both very ruthless. They have got no heart. Every day they put me into the washing machine and make me go round and round and round and round, throw this way, throw that way, and if not machine, when he goes to India, he takes the wooden thing and beats me up. Dar, 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 dar. If the cloth could think. But what is our intention? Is it to hurt the cloth? Or is it to clean it so that it can be used, that it looks neat and clean and pleasing to the eyes, isn't it? So that all the stink and the dirt goes away, isn't it? And you know, today what you are wearing, you are going to go and throw it for washing. Exactly the same thing the Lord is doing with us. Sometimes He is beating you, sometimes He is putting you in the washing machine, in the wringer, sometimes He takes you out and squeezes you till the tears come, till the feeling comes that everything, all control over my life is going. That is His cleaning going on, because He knows once this person becomes clean, he will become a better person, and in my creation there will be another good person going and spreading the name of the divine, who will be there for other people, who will be there for the divinity, who will be expressing that divinity, isn't it? Think, like another example. You take the cloth, after washing, you don't dry it. Then what happens? If you open the cloth, if you take a sari or you take this lungi and you leave it on the without opening it and drying it, when you open it, there will be so many wrinkles on the cloth, isn't it? A wrinkled cloth doesn't look. Can I wear that cloth? And your attention will not be on my words. Your attention will only be on the wrinkles on the cloth. Look how Swamiji has come. Doesn't even know how to wear clothes. I'll say, tell Shailaja. Huh? But where will your attention go? But see, what do? We take the iron, we iron that same cloth, and we leave one or two wrinkles. This is a wrinkle, isn't it? That wrinkle is now not called a wrinkle, it is called a crease. Crease looks nice on a cloth. A wrinkle does not look nice on a cloth, isn't it? Why? It has been reformatted by the iron box. Name of the Lord is like that. It will reformat your mind. It will remove away all unwanted wrinkles from your mind, meaning all unwanted thoughts from your mind, and only leave one or two. What are those? The Lord's name, being good to others, forgive and forget, etc., etc., etc. And when they express out of that person naturally, such a person is liked by everyone. In this manner, the Lord is explaining to what is this? To his mother, Devahuti. And when this happens, and when the Lord has reformatted the hard disk, our mind, then, and when he starts expressing through that mind and heart, for such a person, there is no semblance of fear about anything or anyone. He is not afraid of time, he is not afraid of space, he is not afraid of people, he is not afraid of animals, he is not afraid of objects, he is not afraid of death. Our biggest fear is the fear of death. He is not afraid of death. Why? Because he has found a connection with the Lord in his heart. Meaning, he has found the connection with his own consciousness. And in this manner, the Lord, he says, एतावानेव लोकेस्मिन् पुंसो निःश्रेयसोदयः तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन मनोमय्यर्पितस्थिरम्. Lord Kapila says, those yogis who have developed the two wings of Jnana and Vairagya, and those who have bhakti invoked within their heart, they, for auspiciousness to come upon them, they continuously remember my name, they continuously do my bhajan and bhakti. And there is nothing more greater than having devotion for the Lord in this world. And that is the only way that you can purify your mind. You can purify your mind through pranayam, you can. But it will be temporary. The day you stop pranayam, the mind will become again active. You can do it through drugs. But your dose of drugs will keep increasing up. You will need, first you need 1 tablet to calm your mind, then you need 2 tablets to calm your mind, 3 tablets, after some time the drug doesn't work. First time 1 cigarette to calm your mind, second day 2 cigarettes, after some time cigarette, now we need something more stronger than tobacco. What? Ganja. Then we need something more, something stronger, spirituality. What is that? Gin, whiskey. Why people go after all this? It's only to calm their mind. But think, has it ever calmed your mind till today? The only way to permanently calm your mind is through Bhakti Yoga. remember the Lord. And once He makes your mind calm and removes all the wrinkles out of your mind, meaning bad habits or vices, unwanted desires, unwanted behavior, it will never come back. You can do it forcibly, but it will come back. But when Lord does it, it does not come back. And therefore here he says, the Lord in this way has told our Devahuti the greatness of remembering the Lord, and he told his mother, "O mother, you do bhakti sadhana." And what is this what is the ultimate in bhakti sadhana? That the Lord is recognized Atma Swarup, meaning that Lord Narayana, Lord Shiva, whatever, that Lord and the conscious principle, they are the same. This is recognized inside. And the Lord is recognized Pratyaksha Swarup. This topic I told you, just mentioned it yesterday. And what does that mean? That this whole world of people, of things, of mountains, rivers, plants, animals, etc., that is also nothing but the expression of the Lord alone. So, Lord within and the Lord without. Such becomes the vision of the climax of a devotee. And such example I told you yesterday was that of the gopis. Now we enter into what is this consciousness and what is this prakriti, what is this matter, what is the time, where to go also. So after having told what is the nature of devotion and in which way we must do devotion, these were the two questions that he has answered till yesterday and today. Now he enters into the third question, that I will now tell you what is the knowledge and what is the knowledge about the Purusha and Prakriti, what is the knowledge of the consciousness and matter. And by knowing this, the knot of the heart gets broken. What is the knot of the heart? Avidya kama karma. What is avidya? Ignorance. Ignorance is the womb, and out of that comes kama, desire. Then desire is the womb, and desire prompts you to do actions, karma. So avidya, kama, karma. Why does avidya come? Because of our forgetfulness of the divine. That is why ignorance comes. When we forget the consciousness, then the ignorance comes and we become enslaved by it. So here Kapil Muniji is saying, Jnanam nishreyasarthaya purushasya darshanam yadahur varnaye tatte hridaya granthi bhedanam. Hridaya granthi bhedanam. Hridaya granthi, granthi matlab knot. Hridaya means heart. The knot of the heart is made up like this thing, If I make this, and this is a knot, isn't it? If something gets caught up in it, it will, oh please help me. But all I have to do is just like that and it's open. So was it a knot or was it not a knot? Think about it. Exactly the thing, this is how we have got caught up in the knot of avidya kama karma. See? And how to get out of it? How to break it? It cannot be broken. It has to be dissolved. So first you do the bhakti yoga. As bhakti yoga, you become, here the word that Bhagavan used was tivrena. Tivrena means intensely. Don't wait, I am going to do little and may, if I want to enjoy life also and I want to do little bit of devotion also. No, the Lord says, do it tivrena. Tivrena means intensely. Make hell and heaven together. Make day and night together. Instead of 2 years, 12 years, try to conclude everything within one day. That intensity, that what do you call, that with that devoted intensity, you pursue the Lord. Then change, then immediately you will see the change. So, Jnanam Nishreya Sarthaya. What is Nishreya? Shreya means good, and Preyas means bad, and Nishreyas means that good which is beyond good and bad. Our Arjuna also approached Krishna on the battlefield. He says, Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha pritchami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha nishreya syat nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. Nishreya syat nishchitam. Tell me conclusively, O Lord, what is for my highest good. And why you should tell me conclusively what is for my highest good? Shishyasteham shadhi mam tvam prapannam. Because I am your disciple and I am surrendered at your feet. Nishreyas. He did not want good which gets removed after some time by bad. So here Devahuti also has said that I am tired of living at the level of senses. Please tell me what is the best way to become your devotee. He is telling. Having told to invoke the Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga must give rise to knowledge. And what is that knowledge? This knowledge is the knowledge of consciousness and matter. See? This knowledge is of the consciousness of matter. Bhakti Yoga does not mean that you remain ignorant about everything. So only Naam chal raha hai hriday mein. But in the intellect then, understanding of who the Lord is, what He is, where He has come from, how does He express as the whole world, how do the space, air, fire, water, earth, how does Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar, how does this body, how everything has come about, it starts revealing. See? And once you are exposed to this through the satsang, then if you sometime in your life, hopefully today onwards, if you begin remembering the Lord intensely, then you will not get afraid because of because this knowledge will get invoked. So you have already heard it from here, so there will be no confusion. And yet this is right. This is what Swamiji was saying. This is what the Kapil Muniji was saying. This is what Sankhya Shastra is. Because see, realization of the Lord or the Atma, the pure consciousness, for these 6 questions need to be answered. What are these 6 questions? Who is God? What is this Prakriti? What is this world? Jagat. Who am I? What is my relation with the Lord, Ishvara? What is the relationship of Ishvara with the Jagat, world? And what is the relationship of me with the world? And the last question, what is the sadhana that I must do so that I can understand all this? No amount of reading books can make you understand this. To some extent, yes. But final understanding will be when it comes from within. Without understanding and having answer of all these questions, a realization is not possible. You may be a great devotee. You may not show that knowledge, but you have that knowledge. See? So, these are when we forget ourselves, when we forget the Lord, immediately the first expression is the expression of ignorance. Ignorance is always what you don't know, I don't know. Do you know what is behind you? I don't know. You know what is behind you, behind that? I don't know. You know what is above? I don't know. What did you eat yesterday? I don't know. You know when you are going to die? I don't know. What is your weight? I don't know. Today's kids, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. Isn't it? Every kid, ask them anything. Hey, why did you do that? I don't know. Just because. No, you have to guess what the answer is. If we did like this, our parents would keep our shoulders permanently down. No, I don't know. You have to make a decision. You have to give an answer. There's no question in our childhood we could say, I don't know. I don't know is a sign of ignorance. I don't know, isn't it? Then, if you don't know, then from that ignorance, because your attention is not on the divine theme, then ignorance expresses, and when ignorance, see, how will you, if you don't know what you want to be, will you put efforts? What do you want to be? I don't know, parents say doctor, and my uncle says accountant, and I want to, a dole is enough. Will that person who does not know what he wants to be in the future, what his vision is, something should be there. I know one person in Melbourne, she started her university, first year, oh, I don't think I like this subject, changed. Second year, I don't think this is not resonating with me, big word, resonating with my heart. Then no, I'm going to take a sabbatical, I'm going to go to Europe for 1 year. Went away to Europe, came back, then again took one course, because parents are going to pay, again took another course. Then 3 years she did in one particular course, 4-year course, 3 years she did, I think dental something. And after that she said, oh, I don't think this is I don't see myself looking into mouth of other people, After 3 years. So 6 years she has spent only in I don't know. Will she reach any destination? To all the kids that come to me, I say, whatever you decide, make a decision. If you have chosen a course, do it, complete it. If you are interested in something else, first you get the degree, then we will think about the next one. In the middle, you are not don't change. Why? Then you have to make them understand why. If you keep changing one after the other, the self-confidence keeps depleting. You think about your life, how many difficulties you have come. If you kept saying, oh, this is difficult, I am not going to do, that is difficult, I am not going to do, this is difficult, then you wouldn't have been where you are today. Because you took the difficulties by their horn and found that power, that inspiration inside of you to overcome those difficulties. That's why you are where you are today. Isn't it? And this we are not ready to teach our children. We say, oh, we went through difficulties, our children must get it all easily. Bichare. Throw them out of the house. Let them go through the hardships. That's when they will learn. If you keep no seed under a banyan tree will ever grow into a tree. It has to be blown away by the wind, far away from the mother tree. Then it becomes a banyan tree, which can give shelter, which can have plants and animals and birds. It can give shelter to. But if it remains under a banyan tree, it will never become a tree. But we don't understand this. In the name of attachment to our kids, get attached to the Lord. Don't get attached to the kids. Your parents must be saying the same thing. Why did I get attached to my kids? Eventually they left us in India. So many kids are there, parents are there. See? And we think our kids are not going to do this to us. They will do exactly the same. Wait, watch. And if you are believing in your mind that it will not happen, you are in an imaginary world. That imaginary world is this ignorance. That is this ignorance. Keep safe distance from the kids, from husband, from wife, from world. Live joyfully. Every moment should be an expression of joy without attachment. Wherever you go, it should be a source of happiness. You should be a source of happiness. Rest in tomorrow's episode. enough dose for today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.